What's the difference between a really dense hardwood like ironwood here and something softer like a poplar? Let's talk about the detailed differences, the technical differences, and why I honestly tend to like the poplar better for general burning and fuel use. Most people know that your ironwood, things like oak and hickory, osage, they're a heavy wood, they're dense. So they do last a while in the stove. That's true, they last a long time. But this is actually pretty heavy. The ironwood here, a little bit more dense than your standard oak around here. It takes forever to dry out. Now once it's good and dry, it tends to stay dry fairly well, repels rain pretty well, but this stuff takes forever to dry out, and if you're storing it outside, it's never going to get all that dry. I have one quick interjection to make here. Go check out the Facebook community group that I just started, Homestead Know-How. The Facebook group, Homestead Know-How. If you have any questions, if you want to talk or chat sometime, if you just want to show off the neat stuff that you're doing, go join the group, I'll approve you, and see what's going on. I'd love to chat with you there sometime. Back to your show. It also is harder to light than something softer. This, because it's so dense, it takes a lot longer contact with heat or flame to get it to light. The poplar, I love this stuff because even if it's half green, I can throw it in the stove and it's going to burn. It'll smoke a little, sure, but because it's lighter weight, less density, it catches that heat better. I can literally go out and take this poplar that's sitting out in the rain. It's been raining the past week. I can take this stuff, like this piece here. I'm going to split this up into about 3 smaller pieces. I'll throw it in that stove and it'll burn all right. Smoke for the first 20-30 minutes and then it'll burn decent. My grandpa used to tell me stories about his cabin that he had built up by Torch Lake back in the day. And he had a nice little wood stove in the cabin. For fuel, most all the trees around, when you start getting further north, you don't get much of the hardwoods anymore. You get a lot more of the softer deciduous woods and things like cypress, pine. Poplar is the most common tree he had. Giant, ancient, old, huge poplar trees. Well, he'd cut that stuff down and burn it for fuel. A lot of times he'd run a little bit short on fuel wood. It happens, when you're living the life and you're busy. Well, my grandpa told me he could go out in the middle of winter, anytime, cut down a poplar tree, take a few sections of it, split it up small, stack it up kind of next to the stove so it would warm up a bit, and by the end of the day he was burning that just cut down split wood in the wood stove. He said, yeah, it smoked a little and you got to clean the chimney more often, but it's heat and it works and it beats being cold. So I can't really do that with a dense wood like ironwood, like the black oak that we get around here, or like a lot of your white oak, even your hickory, your osage, the real dense stuff. It takes a long time to dry out well enough to get a good sustainable burn. This poplar, it burns easier. Burns a lot easier, it dries out easier. That's really why I like it. It has a higher flammability. I can take this stuff, I can take a wet poplar log piece like this with the bark on it, split it down into some smaller pieces. I can take that and I can just shave it with my machete into some nice shavings that'll catch easy with a match. The ironwood here, this one's still a bit wet. This stuff just doesn't burn well, especially if it's wet. It's so dense, and with a little bit more moisture in it yet, it just doesn't combust well. If I split this up and I go to make some shavings of it for tinder, it just doesn't catch a flame very well. It does not. So I don't like the hard stuff, especially for starting a fire. It also doesn't burn as hot. Your lighter woods, they're lighter, they create less ash as they're burning, they burn faster, and they burn hotter because they burn significantly faster. This stuff burns. I can tell when I load my stove full of this stuff, the poplar or some of the pine, the whole stove gets faster. The flames are rip-roaring a little more. I can hear the air sucking in, fluting up the chimney faster. The stove gets hotter. If I want to heat up the room, especially quickly, I'm going to throw in some poplar into the stove. It goes fast and it heats up fast. That ironwood, the oak, it takes a lot longer to start heating up, and then it throws out its heat a little slower. Poplar and your woods like pines and cypress, they even help to keep your chimney clean. As long as you're burning a good dry wood, that extra heat helps to keep your chimney clear of creosote. So it's beneficial for that too. Alright, so that is a heavy piece of wood. Your lighter stuff, this lighter poplar pine cypress stuff, I have mostly all poplar around here, so I like it. Your lighter wood, it lights faster, it burns easier and faster, it has a higher flammability to it, and it dries much, much, much faster. And I can even burn this stuff wet. I can't really burn wet oak or wet ironwood. I can burn wet poplar, just split it up a little bit smaller. Now let's talk about some of the technical numbers here. As far as BTUs per pound, BTUs per cord, what's the heat value of these woods? What's the actual monetary value based on the heat value? Let's go over that here. I'm going to do ironwood, I'm going to do our local black oak, and then I'm going to do our local poplar. Ironwood, black oak. Alright, ironwood weighs about 4,300 pounds plus or minus per cord once it's fairly well dried. So, 4,300 . All right, 4,300 pounds per cord. Your black oak weighs about 4,000 pounds per cord. Now when I'm talking ironwood, I'm talking American ironwood, or hophorn beam is the other term for it. Your poplar, it weighs about 2,500 pounds per cord. Let me stand on this side of it here. Alright, so ironwood at 4,300 pounds per cord, my black oak at around 4,000 pounds per cord, and my poplar at around 2,500 pounds per cord. Now let's look at million BTUs per cord. How much heat? So the ironwood has about 28 million BTUs per cord. The poplar, the black oak, excuse me, has about 26 million BTUs per cord. The poplar has about 15 million BTUs per cord. Now the last thing I want to show you is BTUs per pound. BTUs per pound of both of these, the ironwood and the black oak, are about the same. It's going to be about 6,500 BTUs per pound. And the poplar is going to be about 6,000 BTUs per pound. So on that respect, BTUs per pound, most wood is actually fairly equal, but the density means that you get more pounds in some cords of different wood. Now good wood around here sells for about $250 to $300 per cord. Now if we're talking 26 to 28 million BTUs per cord, that comes out to about $10 per million BTUs. So for a cord of ironwood based on its BTU heat value alone, that would be $280. For a cord of black oak based on its BTUs alone would be I'll mess that up, my dyslexia coming out, 260. And for a cord of poplar, that would be about 150. If you can read all that. I need to clean off my little chalkboard better. So, when we're talking about the heat value alone and actual density ratings of these woods, ironwood, 4,300 pounds per cord, 28 million BTUs per cord. That would be about $280 to $300 at a standard $10 per million BTUs. Your good black oak, right? 4,000 pounds per cord, 26 million BTUs per cord, $260 for a cord of good black oak. That's the better oaks that we have growing around here. It's usually the black oaks. My poplar, 2,500 pounds per cord, 15 million BTUs, $150 based on fuel value of $10 per million cord, or of $10 per million BTUs. So, don't shy away from your softer woods if the price is right. Honestly, I would bargain the price down for that. Maybe you might be able to get a cord of poplar instead of $150. Maybe you could get it for $100 if you can find somebody who's got it. Anyways, I got chores to do. I gotta go. I will catch you later. Bye now.